Welcome back, guys. Alright, so start off, we're going to have a basic firewall simulation. Alright, so as our task is to configure the firewall, fill out the table to allow these 4 rules. So we're just going to tackle each of these one at a time. First one is we're going to allow the accounting computer, so we have the accounting computer right here, to have HTTPS access to the administrative server. Alright, so we're going to have this attack attached. It should say administrative server 1, but it doesn't say it on there. So basically, we're going to put the host, the source IP, right here, which is the accounting. Its destination is going to be the administrative server over here. So remember that as the destination IP. Now, since it's using HTTPS, we have to use port 443, which I believe is a TCP. Let's take a look really quick at the next slide, just so I can make sure I'm doing this right. Yep, they're both TCPs. This one and the next one. So it's over TCP. And it's going to allow that to be able to communicate with each other. So, yeah, so we got the accounting. We have administrative 1, port 443, and it's going to be TCP, and it's going to be to allow. The next one, only allow the HR computer, so we have the HR computer right here, to communicate with server 2 system over SCP, so we got server 2 right here. Now, since it's going to go through that, it's going to have to be, was that port 4? 22. Alright, so it's going to go on through port 22 for that. Whoops, went too far. Yep. So using port 22 to communicate with it, and again, it's going to be a TCP allow. The last 2 boxes we have here are for allow the IT computer to have access to both administrative server 1 and administrative server 2. So we're going to have the both the IT on both of these. So we're going to actually have 2 rules for it, and have the destination IP as one of the server 1, and then I'll go to server 2, and it's going to be for any, I do believe. Yep, any. We have an explanation right here if you want to pause and just take a look at it. But basically, yeah, so we're going to have port 443, since it's HTTPS, they're both going to communicate with TCP, and the second one is going to only communicate with the other server, so it's going to be port 22. Alright, we've kind of a few of these questions. It's more of a click down and select, but retina scan, something you are, it's your eye. Smart card is something you have the card in your hand. Hardware token, something you have. Again, you have that basically on like a key fob or something like that. Password is something you're going to know. A PIN number is also something you're going to know. Your fingerprint is, again, something you are, because it's your finger. Alright, during data breach cleanup, it discovered that not all the sites involved have the necessary data wiping tools. Necessary tools are quickly distributed to the required technicians, but when should this problem best be revisited? That's going to be lessons learned. Alright, we have this fun little thing here. Again, it's showing up as, your fingerprint. Oh, it's actually going to be your response form. Okay, cool. That's a little different. So your fingerprint is biometric. Hardware token is a token. It's a one-time password. It keeps on changing. Your smart card is a part of multi-factor. So you have something you have, and you also got to type in your PIN from it. So something you have, something you know, multi-factor. Password is PAP. PIN number, PAP. Retina scan, again, it's biometric. Alright, here we have another simulation. Security Administrator discovers that an attack has been completed against the node of the corporate network. All available logs were collected and stored. You must view all the network logs, discover the scope of the attack, check the box, the nodes that have been compromised, and drag and drop appropriate actions completed incident response. From this critical production environment, perform at least distributive actions on the network while still performing the appropriate incident response. So web server, database server, IDS, and user PCs are clickable. Check the box of the nodes that have been compromised and drag and drop appropriate actions. Complete the incident response. Okay, it's kind of self-explanatory from that. Alright, and right here it says the database server is one that was compromised in this. And the possible actions that could come from the server getting compromised is you got to capture the network traffic, kind of see what's going on there, and make sure there's a chain of custody involved. Joe, a technician, is working remotely with his company to provide a laptop at the coffee shop near his home. Joe is concerned that another patron of the coffee shop may be trying to access his laptop, which following is appropriate control used to prevent the other patron from accessing Joe's laptop directly. And that is host-based firewall. You're the host, you're on your computer, make sure there's a firewall up. Attacker uses network sniffer to capture the packets of a transaction that adds $20 to a gift card. Attacker then uses a function of the sniffer to push those packets back onto the network again, adding another $20 to the gift card. This can be done many times, which of the following describes type of attack. It is a replay attack. It keeps on pushing the same thing over and over again, just adding $20 to the card. An organization is moving to human resource system to a cloud service provider. The company plans to continue using internal usernames and passwords with the service provider. But the security manager does not want the service provider to have a company of the passwords. Okay. Which of the following options meets all these requirements? It is the federated authentication. Alright, the data backup window has expanded into the morning hours and has begun to affect production users. The main bottleneck of the process is the time it takes to replicate the backups to separate servers at the off-site data center. Which of the following uses of duplication could be implemented to reduce the backup window? That is B. Implement deduplication on the storage array to reduce the amount of drive space needed. Penetration testing is preparing for a client engagement in which the tester must provide data that proves and validates the scanning tool's results. Which of the following is best method for collecting this information? B. Use a protocol analyzer, also known as a sniffer, to log all pertinent network traffic. Which of the following best describes the initial processing phase used in mobile device forensics? The phone and storage cards should be examined as a complete unit after examining the removable storage cards separately. And a security analyst is monitoring the IDS, intrusion detection system, console and noticed multiple connections from an internal host to a suspicious callback domain. Which of the following tools would aid her to decipher the network traffic? That is NetStat. Administrator is testing the collision resistance of different hashing algorithms. Which of the following is the strongest collision resistance test? Find two identical messages with different hashes. The SSID broadcast for a wireless router has been disabled, but a network administrator notices that unauthorized users are accessing the wireless network. The administrator has determined the attackers are still able to detect the presence of the wireless network despite the fact that SSID has been disabled. Which of the following would further obscure the presence of the wireless network? And that is disable responses to a broadcast probe request. Which of the following should be used to implement voice encryption? And that is SRTP. Just think telephone protocol at the end. Secure telephone protocol. During an application design, the development team specifies an LDAP module for single sign-on communication with the company's access control database. This is an example of which of the following? It is authentication. After a merger, determined that several individuals could perform the task of a network administrator in the merged organization. Which of the following should have been performed to ensure the employees have proper access? And that is D, user rights and permission review. Alright, company exchange information with the business partner. An annual audit of the business partner is conducted against the SLA in order to verify as A, performance and service delivery metrics. Which of the following is the proper way to quantify the total monetary damage resulting from an exploited vulnerability? That is to calculate the ALE. A security administrator needs to implement a system that detects possible intrusions based upon a vendor-provided list. Which of the following best describes this type of intrusion detection system? That is signature-based. The chief security officer has reported the rise of data loss, but no break-ins have occurred. by doing which of the following is the CSO most likely to reduce the number of incidents. And that is conduct security awareness training. Having adequate lighting on the outside of a building, example, which of the following security controls? That is A, deterrent. By having light there, people are deterred away from wanting to walk up there and getting recognized. During a recent audit, it was discovered that several user accounts belonging to former employees were still active and had valid VPN permissions, which of the following would help reduce the amount of risk the organization incurs in this situation in the future. And that is user access reviews. An organization is working with a cloud service provider to transition critical business applications to a hybrid cloud environment. The organization retains sensitive customer data and wants to ensure the provider has sufficient administrative and logical controls in place to protect its data. In which of the following documents would this concern most likely be addressed? And that is the service level agreement. A security administrator wants to implement a company-wide policy and empower data owners to manage and enforce access controls rules on various resources. Which of the following should be implemented? That is discretionary access control. Which of the following best describes an attack where communications between two parties are intercepted and forwarded to each party with neither party being aware of the interception and potential modification to the communications? Man in the middle. The security administrator wishes to implement a secure method to file transfer when communicating with outside organizations. Which of the following protocols would best facilitate secure file transfer? Select two. And that is SCP and FTPS. Technician needs to implement a system which will properly authenticate users by their username and password only when the users are logging in from a computer in the office building. Any attempt to authenticate from a location other than the office building should be rejected. Which one must the technician implement? And that is transitive authentication. After correctly configuring a new wireless-enabled thermostat to control the temperature of a company's meeting room, Joe, a network administrator, determines that the thermostat is not connecting to the internet-based control system. Joe verifies that the thermostat received the expected network parameters and is associated with the access point. Additionally, other wireless mobile devices connected to the same wireless network are functioning properly. The network administrator verified that the thermostat works when tested at his residence. Which of the following is the most likely reason the thermostat is not connecting to the network? That is A, the company implements a captive portal. Chief Security Officer has been unsuccessful in attempts to access the website for a potential partner. Which of the following rules is preventing the CSO from accessing this site? That is C. Rule 3, deny from the inside to the outside source any destination, block site service, HTTP, HTTPS. Malware that changes its binary pattern on specific dates and specific times to avoid detection is known as a polymorphic virus. The company is planning to encrypt files in several sensitive directories of a file server with symmetric key. Which of the following could be used? That is B. Two-fish. Which of the following is a document that contains detailed information about actions that include how something will be done, when the actions will be performed, and penalties for failure? And that is the SLA. Which of the following are most susceptible to birthday attacks? That is hashed passwords. Joe, a computer forensic technician, responds to an active compromise of a database server. Joe first collects information in memory, then collects network traffic, and finally conducts an image of the hard drive. Which of the following procedures did Joe follow? That is A, order of validity. A system administrator wants to implement an internal communication system that will allow employees to send encrypted messages to each other. His system must also support non-repudiation. Which of the following implements all these requirements? That is PGP. Alright guys, I'm going to pause out this video. Go ahead and click on the next video. Keep looking at some Q&A.